Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video, we're going to go back, way back, to the Chaffle. So for those of you who've been living in absolute isolation and are not aware of what a Chaffle is, it's basically cheese plus waffle, Chaffle. And it started with just mozzarella and egg in a Dash Mini waffle maker. And since then, it has expanded into all manner of different flavors and varieties, and some things that really don't even fit the title Chaffle anymore. And there was a point, a year and a half ago, where I was kicking out Chaffle videos pretty much non-stop, and started to get the name Chaffle Guy, which I did not want. I didn't want to be pigeonholed. So I really quit doing Chaffle videos for quite some time. But now that I've started this new series, Throwback Thursdays, where I look at older videos and older recipes and see how I can improve them, one of the things I wanted to return to was the pizza Chaffle. Now this is not the Throwback Thursday episode. This is just an experimentation episode where I'm going to play with a couple of different ingredients, trying to make the pizza crust Chaffle. My goal here is to see if I can either get more crisp, more chew, or a combination of the two. But before I start, I want to throw out a quick thank you to Michael Palmer of Accolade Prints. He created this Chaffle t-shirt for me way back in the day, and I will link to his store out on Redbubble down below in case you'd like to get any of his keto products. He's got a lot of cool designs. So let's get on with the Chaffle making. I'm going to start with the baseline, which is going to be the same Chaffle that I made in the old pizza Chaffle video. Half a cup of shredded mozzarella, a tablespoon of almond flour, 1 large egg, and 1/8 of a teaspoon each of garlic powder and Italian seasoning. We'll start with 1/2 cup or 60 grams of shredded mozzarella, 1 tablespoon of almond flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm then going to process this about 5 times. This is the only time that I will show you all 5 times. You can just trust that I do it in each of the subsequent batches. Then I will add 1 large egg, and I will process this for about 10 seconds. I edit that down. Trust me, it was 10 seconds. Then we'll split our batter between 2 Dash Minis. Then we'll cook these for 4 to 5 minutes or until we just barely see a whisper of steam coming out of the waffle makers. Then I'll remove them to a cooling rack. For the second Chaffle, I will be using Carbulose. Carbulose is a lowish carb flour alternative. I say lowish because even at a 1/4 cup, you're still looking at 8 net grams of carbohydrates. Additionally, while I don't like to use the term dirty keto, this has got some dirt on it. You've got wheat, you've got soy, you've got canola oil, all included in the ingredients. So if you find any of those ingredients troubling in any quantity, then probably want to steer clear of Carbulose. The only reason I'm including it in this experiment is because I routinely get questions about it, and I figure might as well give it a try. For our second batch, I will be using a tablespoon of Carbulose instead of a tablespoon of almond flour. Then we have our garlic powder and Italian seasoning, and pulse 5 times. Then I'll add 1 large egg and process for about 10 seconds. Don't worry, I'm not going to show you the entire process each time. We'll then split our batter between our 2 Dash Minis and cook them for 4 to 5 minutes. Again, I let steam be my guide. We'll remove these to a cooling rack. For the third Chaffle, we're shooting to get a little bit of chew. So I'm going to use this I'm gluten-free gluten replacement. The macros on this, serving size is 2 tablespoons, total carbohydrates 8 grams, dietary fiber 8 grams. The ingredients, modified cellulose. This is just plant fiber. This time, instead of the almond flour, we are going to use 1 teaspoon of the gluten replacement. And you can see this batter is the thickest so far. It's really clinging to the edge and almost clearing the bottom. It scoops right out. So we'll split this between our 2 Dash Minis, and then I'm going to hold down the lid for just a moment to let that batter sort of expand outward. 5 minutes later, off to a cooling rack. I've never had one stick to the top like this before. For the fourth and final Chaffle, I'm going to be using this Evercrisp. This is a breader and batter boost. Serving size is 1/4 cup. Total carbohydrates, 19 grams. of which 17 grams are fiber. As for the ingredients, there's only one. It's two words, and I think both of those words has the potential to trigger some viewers. Those words are wheat, dextrin, but it's essentially fiber. And for our final batch, instead of almond flour, I will use 1 tablespoon of Evercrisp. And you'll see this looks the most like batter out of any of the batches I've done so far. We'll bake these up 4 to 5 minutes and then remove to a cooling rack. Time for the taste and texture test, starting with the almond flour chaffle. For our baseline, that's pretty decent. Doesn't have a whole lot of chew, doesn't really have any crisp. I think if you were making a sandwich with this, that would work just fine. In fact, kind of puts me in the mood for a roast beef sandwich, or better yet, Italian beef. Next up, we have the Carbulose. Even though this is dirty, I like it better than the almond. The texture is slightly drier, but definitely more bready. So, despite the sketchy ingredients, that's a decent chaffle right there. Now we have the gluten replacement chaffle. And I can tell just holding it, it feels a little bit more flexible, a little more pliable. So even as I bit into that, it had a little bit more of a tear to it, like a bread type of a tear. I don't know if you can see as I'm pulling this, the way it pulls apart. There's definitely a springiness to the texture, kind of like gluten. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit of that mouth coating sensation that you can get from xanthan gum sometimes. So it could just be that I need to dial in the proper amount, but this has got some potential. And finally, we have the Evercrisp chaffle. This, I think, is going to be kind of cool here. In fact, I gotta have another bite. Of all the chaffles, this one has the lightest texture to it. It's somewhere between crisp and, I don't know what I would call it. Not flaky, but I can tell you it gets me very excited about the possibilities for some sort of keto batter or breading. I absolutely see both of those two ingredients, the I'm gluten-free gluten replacement and the Evercrisp, as being some ingredients I'm going to be using in keto baking going forward. I'm also wondering if somehow I can use the two together in creating either a pizza dough or a pizza chaffle, and I'll be experimenting on that definitely over the upcoming weeks. It'll be interesting to see how some of these other ingredients, especially the Evercrisp, perform in other appliances, like the Dash Bowl Maker or the Corn Dog Maker. These ingredients have really got the kitchen chemist in me starting to get excited. So I'm going to be working with them with the hopes of doing a Throwback Thursday episode on the pizza chaffle where I do a complete re-record. And who knows, we may see something like that as soon as next week, so stay tuned. In the meanwhile, if you would like to start experimenting with these two ingredients, I will include links down below so that you can purchase them on Modernist Pantry. They're quite a bit cheaper there than they are on Amazon. Additionally, I will include a coupon code for 10% off. So if you buy these ingredients and start playing around with them yourselves, I'd love to hear what your results are, good or bad, or just lessons learned. Let me know down in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell and turn on all notifications. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the Serious Keto Test Kitchen, click that join button right down there and see what memberships and perks are all about. Thanks for watching.